Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into one of the absolute most breathtaking and honestly philosophically dense texts in world literature. We're looking at chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita, which is famously known as the Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga. Now, it is incredibly easy to view this chapter purely as some mystical text or ancient legend, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to look at it through a highly practical lens. We're going to explore this chapter as a profound, actionable guide for modern cognitive restructuring, leadership, and finding true inner clarity when you're facing massive conflict. Let's get right into it. Here is the roadmap for our cognitive journey today. We'll start with the context, move into Arjuna's crisis, explore the universal form, discuss becoming an instrument of Dharma, and wrap up with our key takeaways. Section 1. The context. A request for proof. So, to really grasp chapter 11, we have to remember what just happened in the previous 4 chapters. Krishna has essentially just finished explaining that he is the absolute source of literally everything. And Arjuna, well, he's intellectually accepted this teaching. But as we all know, knowing something in theory and experiencing it in reality are two very different things. Arjuna wants a practical demonstration. He wants to see this cosmic reality with his own eyes. Now, to understand his request, we've got to understand the term Vishvarupa. It translates to the universal or cosmic form. But this isn't just a giant physical body. It's a vision of the world viewed from a mind where the illusions of time and space have been entirely removed. Think about it for a second. Space divides objects, right? And time divides events. If you remove space and time, every single object, past, present, and future, merges into one single eternal entity. That is the Vishvarupa. Moving to Section 2, Arjuna's cognitive crisis, the paralysis of choice. Let's actually look at Arjuna's problem on the battlefield because it's fascinating. He's a highly competent warrior, fully capable of winning this fight. His refusal to fight isn't just mere cowardice, it's a profound paralysis of choice. It's a deep cognitive crisis that so many modern leaders face today. He's torn between 2 distinct paths. On one side, you have decisions driven by raga and visha, which are his personal attachments and aversions. He sees his family and friends across the battlefield and suffers from what modern researchers actually call false causal attributions. He falsely believes that he alone is the independent cause of their life or death. But on the other side is his dharma, his universal duty as a warrior to uphold justice. Krishna realizes that to change Arjuna's emotions, he can't just give him a pep talk. He has to restructure Arjuna's entire causal scheme. He has to shift him from personal bias to universal alignment. To resolve this conflict, Krishna needs to prove that he, the Supreme, is both the intelligent cause and the material cause of the universe. Think of it like this. A carpenter is the intelligent cause of a table, right? But the wood is the material cause. However, in Vedanta, God is actually both. Just as the ocean is the material cause of the wave, because the wave is literally nothing but the ocean, God alone exists in the form of the world. Once Arjuna truly sees this, his false sense of personal doership is going to completely vanish. Section 3. The universal form revealed. The ultimate paradigm shift. Okay, this is it. The moment of the ultimate paradigm shift. Krishna agrees to show Arjuna this reality. But there's a catch. Arjuna cannot see the infinite with finite, fleshy eyes. So Krishna grants him the divine eye, a direct, intuitive disclosure of truth from way beyond the finite mind. It allows Arjuna to perceive the underlying oneness of all creation. The ancient texts honestly struggle to find the words to describe what Arjuna sees next, but this famous quote hits the nail on the head. If the radiance of 1,000 suns were to burst forth at once in the sky, that would be like the splendor of that mighty one. Arjuna is just totally overwhelmed. He sees all the gods, the sages, the cosmos, the entire universe gathered together in one place, right within the body of the God of gods. But here's the thing. The vision isn't just beautiful, it is also terrifying. Arjuna sees the great warriors of the opposing army rushing into the blazing, terrible mouths of the cosmic form, being crushed like moths flying into a fire. Completely overcome with fear, Arjuna bows down. All of his previous patronizing familiarity with Krishna is just gone, totally replaced by utter humility. He asks this really desperate question. Who are you, fierce in form? I do not understand your purpose. Let's pause right here. Why on earth would God reveal a terrifying form of destruction? Well, the answer lies in the concept of kala, or time. Krishna replies, I am time, the mighty world-destroying time.
You see, if God is the source of all existence, he has to encompass the whole picture. Creation and destruction are a continuous, inseparable process. Time absorbs all names and forms. The destruction of these negative forces on the battlefield has actually already been ordained by the inescapable laws of cosmic necessity.
Section 4, the instrument of Dharma, Nimitta Matram Bhava. This brings us to a really pivotal moment. Krishna issues an incredibly powerful command to Arjuna, Nimitta Matram Bhava. Basically, be a mere instrument. And this is the core, actionable teaching of the entire chapter, becoming an instrument. Now, this absolutely does not mean you lose your free will or become some sort of robotic puppet. Human life is a series of choices. You can use your free will to follow your own personal likes and dislikes, or you can use it to align with Dharma, the universal law. When you choose Dharma, your free will is perfectly aligned with the divine will. You become an active, conscious instrument of a much higher purpose. Think about it through this analogy. Did Isaac Newton invent gravity? No way, of course not. Gravity already existed as a universal law. Newton's brilliant mind, acting as an instrument, merely discovered and articulated it. In the exact same way, our actions and our successes are merely our participation in a pre-existing cosmic order. When we finally drop our ego and realize this fact, we are freed from the crushing, overwhelming weight of personal anxiety. For modern professionals, this is a phenomenal working approach. It's a real game changer. Fate plus free will equals our future. The sources summarize it so perfectly. Do your action as though everything is entirely in your hands. But when it comes to the results, receive them as though everything is in God's hands. Act fiercely, but completely detach yourself from the anxiety of the outcome. Getting back to the story, the sheer magnitude of this cosmic vision is just too much for Arjuna's finite mind to hold on to continuously. Visibly distressed, he begs Krishna to return to his gentle, familiar, four-armed form. And Krishna gracefully complies, restoring Arjuna to a composed state. This symbolizes a really beautiful truth for all of us. While we absolutely must deeply understand the infinite universal reality, we still have to live, operate, and function gracefully within the finite, everyday world. Section 5. Key takeaways for modern life. Wow, we have covered a massive philosophical landscape today, haven't we? So let's synthesize this chapter and extract the practical inner guidance that a modern spiritual seeker or any professional can start applying today. At the very end of chapter 11, Krishna actually provides the substance of the entire Gita in just one verse. These are the 5 ingredients of right living. First, dedicate your work to a higher purpose. Second, keep the ultimate reality as your core goal. Third, cultivate single-minded devotion. Fourth, free yourself from personal attachments and that tricky ego of doership. And fifth, harbor absolutely no enmity or hatred towards any living being whatsoever. That right there is the ultimate tonic for inner clarity. If we break all of that down into a daily, practical procedure for decision-making, it looks exactly like this. Step 1, drop the ego and the false belief that you control all the variables. Step 2, look at the situation right in front of you and ask, what is my dharma? What is the right, objective duty here, ignoring my personal biases? And step 3, act purely as an instrument. Execute the action flawlessly, but leave the results completely to the universe. This is the true path of jnana, the path of supreme wisdom and knowledge. I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. If you actually drop your ego, if you stop getting in your own way with your attachments, your fears, and your anxieties, and you actively choose to act purely as an instrument of a higher, universal purpose, what limits can you truly not exceed? It completely redefines what is possible for us. Now, doing this requires immense devotion and practice, which leads us perfectly into our next explainer, where we will be covering Chapter 12, the Yoga of Devotion. Until then, keep aligning your actions with your purpose. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer.